to the Word of God. So you are ready. Apparently the kids are ready too. They're going to go to their class. You know, there was a story of a king that had all his subjects, and it was in that kingdom they had a very harsh law. So one time they caught a thief, and they brought him to the king for justice. And the penalty for stealing was death. So the king grabbed the thief, and he told him, well, we have the rope ready. You are going to be hanged. Or, if you don't want to be hanged, you need to face what is behind the iron door. And that was the rule. Everybody knows that everybody will be presented with that option. Or you will be hanged, or you will face what was behind the iron door. And everybody was so afraid of the iron door that everybody always preferred to be hanged. Nobody knew. Nobody wanted to go there. So this thief, he decides, okay, no, I want to be hanged. And then he went, and when he was about to be hanged, and the king approached him and asked him, do you want to say last words? Like, no, I don't have anything to say. But king, I have a question for you. Yes, said the king. Come. What is behind the iron door? I mean, I'm about to be hanged. I'm not going to tell anybody, but I want to know. And the king just looked at him and responded, behind the iron door, it's freedom. But everybody's so afraid of what's behind, of the unknown, that nobody ever chooses it. And have you ever thought about that? How our fears sometimes hold us back. And as I was praying, that's what I felt that the Lord was leading me to share with you today. And it was about fears and being fearless. Because, you know, the Bible says in Proverbs chapter 29, verse 25, the fear of men lays a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is safe. Now, when you read that in English, especially, it lays a snare, and you are not from Douglas County or Taney County or Stone County, the first thing that comes into my mind is a drum snare. The one that we have there in the drum cage. That's a snare, right? That's what comes into my mind. In Spanish, we don't have that problem, because actually this verse says that it's un lazo. So it is basically what he is telling is a snare trap. And how many of you are familiar with the snare trap? What it is? 4 or 5 people. So for everybody else, you're wearing the same camp as me. A snare trap is just a very, very, very basic trap that you just grab a little rope and you tie it and you make a knot that it can move like this. And then you set it in a place where it's going to be a lot of traffic of the animals. And then when the animal walks by the snare and gets tangled there and starts pulling, as more they pull, the tighter it gets. And it gets to the point that the animal that it's caught in the snare, it cannot move. And if you get them by the neck, probably you will suffocate to death. That's a snare. Now, what the Bible says, that fear of men lays a snare. A lot of times what the enemy does with us is he plays fears in our life that is going to work as a snare, that is going to get us caught. And I can even hear sometimes when you get into that situation and you get caught, that voice telling, gotcha. And many of us right now, we feel trapped by our fears. Let me ask you, what are you afraid of? And don't tell me spiders. I'm afraid of sharks. And I'm afraid of AK-47 bullets. I'm afraid, don't tell me, those are normal fears. I'm actually allergic to bullets being shot at me. I would probably die out of the allergic reaction to them. What are you afraid of? Now, being serious, opening our hearts. There's a lot of reasons to be afraid of. To lose somebody, our finances, our health. There are many, many things that can be used to keep us trapped. And the enemy is not afraid to use all those things to keep us prisoners of our fears. You know how people respond to fear. Back in 1915, a psychologist wrote an article about how people respond to fear. And back then, he only placed two different options. It's or fight or flight. Those were the two options that the people had. Fight or flight. It's like, for example, you're running and suddenly a dog comes at you. What do? Or fight or flight, right? I don't know how many of you will fight a dog. I will flight. I don't run, but when that happens to me, you will not see anybody running faster than me. Fight or flight. And then recently, another psychologist, Olivia Guy Evans, wrote another article, and he was talking about how that has moved forward, and now people respond with 4 different ways. Fight and flight. Then somebody else added freeze. You are familiar with freeze, right? In fight, when you fight, you see the danger, you feel the danger, and you get ready to fight. If you fight, you flee, and you run away and get away from the danger. But there's some people that freeze when it's afraid. Something happens, and you just get frozen. How many of you have been in an earthquake? I've been in several earthquakes. You see this same situation in an earthquake. If you're in a room full of people and starts the earthquake and the earth starts to shake, you will see people fleeing. They don't know where they are running, but they are running because wherever you go, it's gonna be moving also outside. Wherever you go, but people start running. You see other people who start trying to figure out what to do, and they run to trying to find a shelter, trying to fight a little bit, but there are some others that they get frozen where they are. They turn pale. They don't know what to do. So it's fight, flight, freeze, and now they also talk about fun. It's in immediate acting to try to please everybody and avoid conflict. And as you can see, this has been moved forward and has been adapted to our times. Because why? Because back in the day when we were hunters, but now